Relive, remember, relate.
The annals of history are filled with those who disrupted their field. Today, the power of one man's plan for news that never signs off. It often happens quietly, without notice or distinction, at least in the initial moments. One idea, one decision that disrupts the way we think, changes what we know. And often, once that pebble has been cast, the ripples never stop. So it was on June 1st, the 80s, just 6 months old, and the sand beneath our feet began to shift. The premise was simple. Keep Americans informed all day, every day. Before the internet and smartphones, there was not a place to get current news at any time. Ted Turner saw a hole in the market. But filling that gap with a national news network was anything but a guaranteed success.
I am only investing my time in this. He's investing every cent he ever made in it. But he's never been wrong.
The cable news network, now CNN, hit the airwaves at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on June 1st, 1980. Americans now had a new place to get the news, even if the network had to compete against CBS, ABC, and NBC with a fraction of the money and resources.
CNN will have approximately 9 times as much airtime as CBS News, but it will have to cover the news on a budget about 1/4 that of CBS News and the other 2 networks.
But the reason Turner was willing to make this massive gamble had a lot to do with the technology. He had turned a small TV station into the nation's first superstation in 1976 with Turner Broadcasting Systems. The technology behind TBS helped pave the way for CNN.
The key to the operation is here at the world's largest satellite dish field, located next to the Atlanta studios. This technology will enable CNN to bring in pictures from the far corners of the world and immediately transmit them to cable systems throughout the United States.
As soon as the lights went on in Atlanta, a story that happened anywhere could be on the air within hours or even minutes. That was a big change to waiting to see snippets on a 30-minute newscast on the big 3 networks.
We're going to outfight and outthink all 3 of the networks on every story we can do, and we're going to compete with them, and we hope we're going to beat them.
That big promise attracted young talent that all of a sudden could be working for a national network.
There's no seniority at this point. You kind of establish your own.
No union restrictions, tight job definitions. You get to do a little bit of everything if you're willing to do it. Well, I am.
I came because deep down inside of me, there's always been an anchor man who's been screaming to get out, and he couldn't get out at CBS or ABC.
CNN was transformative and showed the power of live coverage of the day's biggest stories. From the return of the Iran hostages to the frantic response to the assassination attempt of President Reagan, and the now infamous pictures of the Challenger space shuttle exploding on live TV. But in 1991, the network really flexed its muscle with its non-stop coverage of the first Persian Gulf War. Instead of hearing about what was going on at 6 o'clock, viewers were glued to live play-by-play from correspondents on the ground. CNN proved Americans wanted to know what was going on as it was happening. While Turner eventually took a back seat at the network in the early 2000s, his gamble paid off. A gamble that started June 1st, 1980, with plenty of skeptics that would eventually copy his idea.